welcome to another episode of Mission Apollo. Today we wanted to take a bit of a different approach and focus a touch less on what's been happening at Apollo and current events, and we wanted to give you a bit more of a long-term perspective of and on how we're thinking about our products. So a good place to start is to do a quick recap of where we started in terms of our products. Where do we get our scooters from? Which factory did they come from? What was our contribution to those products? And how have they evolved over the last 3 years? So Chris, would you do us the honors and just kind of recap the product evolution, product history of Apollo over the last 3 years?
With pleasure. I thought we were also going to announce our partnerships with CLA hats, but product evolution over the last 3 years. So we started the company with just by reselling models, as you all know. We started with like Xiaomi and Segways. Then we went into OEM, meaning that, again, you get a frame, you put your brand on it, it's not your IP. And that's where we had the Apollo Lite, which was an entry-level 10 Ah, 350-watt motor. We had the Apollo City, which is a 500-watt motor, 13 Ah. And then we had the Explore, which was an 18 Ah, 1,000-watt motor, which was our best seller, which was very surprising to all of us. Still a good scooter. And then we had the Pro. And the Pro was a dual 1,000-watt scooter with a 23 Ah battery, I believe. And that was great. OEM was interesting. And the whole goal of OEM was to raise enough money to be able to invest in our own molds, because while we were selling OEMs, we got incredible amounts of insights from consumers of what they liked, what they disliked, what they wanted. And the reality is those scooters of OEM, just the quality control was not there. The product sort was not there. The specs were not there. So we launched first. Yeah.
Jump in here and ask Eloi, what was your relationship like with the factory that manufactured the original Apollo lineup? So the Sanders factory.
Non-existent. That's very hard. It's because we just started into the business, and you buy, I don't know, a couple thousand pieces a year, and you're nothing compared to the guy who's selling like 100,000 of them. So it's very hard to implement change within the factory because they don't want to change a successful recipe on their side.
Mm-hmm. And we were like a drop in the bucket for them too in terms of volume, right? So like they're selling 30,000 something per year, and we're buying 1,000, and we're complaining the most probably about what's not working.
Yeah, and for them, we are like the shield between the customer and and them, the factory. So even if someone crashed because of their scooter, they don't necessarily care. Compared to us, if there's even one accident because of the scooter, it means a lot, right? So it's very frustrating to be stuck between the two.
And we had no control, right? When we visited the factory, that was the biggest insight. It was employees sitting on the floor with screwdrivers doing screws. Like there was no QC, there was no assembly line, there was nothing. So I think it was a good learning curve that we had to go through to do what we are doing today. And you see our assembly line is unbelievable in the scooter world. So anyway, that was the OEM line. And then we first ventured into our own IP scooters with the Apollo Phantom that we launched, which was dual 1,000 watts, 23 Ah, quad suspension, etc., which was really good. A lot of learning curves, a lot of iterations on safety, and a good reality check on how hard it is to make a scooter from scratch. And then we completely switched factory and redid all the QC.
Sorry to keep interjecting, but an important caveat here is that the Phantom was still produced with our original factory in partnership with our original factory. And the goal, like Eloi just mentioned, was to gain control, gain decision-making abilities over product that we previously didn't have with the OEM lineup. But when we made that decision to partner up with Sanders and produce this scooter 50/50 with them, we realized that we gained some control, but not nearly as much as we needed to in order to have complete confidence in the product, right? So it's only sort of now after 3 cycles of improvements and iterations that the product is where it should have been from the beginning, realistically, right? So that's when we kind of decided to pursue new partners in manufacturing, because we just felt like we couldn't really reach where we wanted to go with Sanders.
And that's it. So, and then now the evolution from that, the new partners and having our own assembly floor and managing all the QC and everything on that's gave birth to, I guess, the Apollo Air, the Apollo City, Apollo Pro that's being worked on now. So, I mean, again, what we've been selling the last 2 years at Apollo Air, 2022 and then 2023 now, which has been great. And you've seen evolutions of those as well. Now it has self-healing tires. Last year it didn't. Now it has turn signals and handlebars. just for safety. So we're getting a lot of great feedback from customers, and we're always always making it better. So the City and Air were the ones that we were selling the most. And now, again, we launched the Pro last year. Sorry, I'm going a bit everywhere here, but the Air and the City were great launches, but we launched it and we realized there was a few things that we could have done better in the start. So that's why the Pro was the first scooter that we actually took a step back and said, okay, how can we make sure the launch of this is perfect, like pristine?
And it was really the Pro that was, as Eloi mentioned many times, a process where he sat down with a blank slate and said, what would the best scooter ever look like? Let's design that something with no constraints, as long as it's a scooter, it counts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then I think the Pro is a perfect example. It's like the amount of hours, blood, sweat, and tears that I want a team put into the manufacturing process of it, and everything else. I think it really is interesting. And then even the launch process of it. So again, launching everything on YouTube, 6 sample iterations, getting all the feedback from customers. And then once we have a great working and nearly end prototype, then we launch it to 150 beta testers. And today we're nearly at the end of that, right? We have 150 people testing the Pro, trying to break everything of it. And now that's nearly finished. We're going to China in 2 weeks, and we're going to go through the whole production line and deliver the final production in end of December, early Jan. So that's where we are today. I think it's really like the Pro is an incredible launch. Everything's been done well on the safety side and the preparation side. And that's a new standard for all our products going forward. So our lineup today is the Air 23, City 23, and the Pro. And this is where we can talk about the evolution of the product lineup. Imagine, I don't know if you want to take it over from here.
No, you're doing great. You can
yeah. So a learning, and I think this is, again, we can go a little bit into this and share some insights, but the Pro was really great. I mean, it's a beautiful scooter, and it shows what we can manufacture for fun with no budget, etc. The reality is we launched this during quite a tough economic time, right? I mean, it's a $4,000 scooter. It's, again, gorgeous and my favorite scooter by far, but the reality is that it's not going to be a mass selling scooter. So once that, we're launching that, it's really good. Where we really see a gap in the markets is you go between a single motor like the Apollo Air and a dual motor like the Apollo City. You're looking at an $800-900 gap, which no competition has cracked really. There was the Merkin wide wheel that looked beautiful, but was actually a garbage scooter for many reasons. Anyway, that was not safe. And then you have like the Unagi, which is a great scooter, great looking scooter. The reality is there's no comfort. It's really made for portability and look, but the durability and the quality is just not there. So we're looking at a sweet spot of something that has enough power to get you up hills, and it's right in that entry level category. So like a cheap entry level dual motor scooter, and that's one of the best insights I think we found, because that's where the Go is being produced for. We've been spending 12 months, I think, testing the Mini, the entry level, all this different stuff, and trying to understand what consumers fit. And I really think we cracked it with the Go, and so that's going to be, I think, perfect for, again, entry level at $1,299, dual 350-watt motors, a 15 Ah battery, self-heating tires, time signals, all the safety, and that's really going to be like the mass market SKU. It'll be in your Best Buys, it'll be everywhere, and that's, again, I think right now where we are in that process is we've done the samples and the prototypes, and now I can talk more into this, but just testing it at the Micromobility conference last week, getting real users to test it and give them direct feedback. Incredible, right? And that's why we're going to add a new suspension in the front and make sure all of that. So I think, long story short, our portfolio is great. We have 2 gaps, I think. Well, one gap, which is in the entry level, which we're hitting. So you'll still have the Air and the Go, and then the City and the Pro. And we're looking also between I think that's pretty much it. I think there is a gap between the City Pro and the Pro, which we're looking at the Explore. And for those of you not familiar with the Explore, it's going to be a swappable battery, more tailored towards a bit of a commercial use, but that's still in the works. And I think our priority is really the Go as we go forward.
Yeah. So just to maybe summarize a little bit, in terms of what we delivered so far, we have the entry level Air, 2023, 2024. No updates. Don't expect a new scooter. It's just the Air. It's literally just came out, so we're just very happy to have it in stock and not make any changes for a little bit, because it's phenomenal. The same applies to the City 2023. So that's our commuter scooter. Also, no changes for 2024. It's staying as is. Rest assured, it's not going anywhere. Then we have our Phantom, also staying in its current form until 2024. and you can expect it to also actually reflect a lot of the changes that we made over the last year. So I don't know if we actually ever communicated it, but following the Bolt recall, we basically redesigned the shaft mechanism entirely so that the frame can now withstand up to 10,000 cycles of our testing. So as of the V3, the Phantom is officially warranted for 10,000 kilometers on the frame, which is fantastic because it now is on the same level as the rest of the portfolio. And then we have the Pro, right? So those are our 4 kind of scooters that we're going into 2024 with. So now explain to me, how is the Go, like Chris mentioned, and the Explore going to fit into this lineup in late 2024, let's say?
And also, I guess just add on to that, what are the synergies with the Pro, and what learnings from the Pro have stemmed to the Go and Explore, I guess?
Right. So how's it going to fit in the lineup? I guess to me, you have the Air, which is entry level, a single motor. And it's lightweight. It's 38 pounds. So that's for people who just want. There's not a lot of hills to climb. It's decent enough range too. 15 AH, it's pretty good with 21,700. So that's very entry level. Then you have the people who were stuck to upgrade to the City right away. And the City, well, it's more bulky, 66 pounds, so a lot more heavy. Dual suspension, it's a bit extreme, the difference. So that's where the Go sits. It's going to be between the Air and the City. So you have all the advantage of the dual motor of the City, but also the compactness of the Air even more. The handlebar is even more compact. But with all the learning of the Pro, so we are like taking all the best part about all our models and fitting it into this one. And what is great about the Go is that there's no compromise. You have the power, you have the compactness, you have the price. So that's just going to be great all around. And then you have the City. The City is for people who wants to do a bit more off-road with their scooter or do more range, higher top speed as well. It's 48 volt, 20 AH compared to the Go, which is 36 volt, 15 AH. So bigger battery, more power. The motors as well, they're able to discharge a bit more. That's where the City fits into it. And then you have the Phantom. Phantom is really best value per dollar. You have like you can do off road, on road. The quadruple suspension, it's just unmatched about like how the bounciness that it's offered. And then you also switch to 52 volts. So this is allowing 65 kilometers per hour top speed, and it's the Phantom focused more on the spec and now the feature with the V3 than the overall aesthetic. So if you don't care about what your scooter looks like, you just want the raw performance and go off-road and beat your scooter, the Phantom is going to be the one. And then you have the Pro, and the Pro as well. So luxurious because you have no screws on the scooter, the red dot word, you have the IoT, the GPS, you have all the latest things. So if you care about having the latest and the greatest and look like an absolute baller on your scooter, well, the Pro is the scooter to have. And also just something
right?
Sorry?
Apollo Pro looked like a baller. That's essentially
yeah. Pretty much. And it's not just about that, like it's also so solid, like if you do care about having the little bit of extra premium in in QC and assembly and just the overall way that the scooter is made, like if you do appreciate those things, you're gonna love the Apollo Pro because that's what it was built in at its essence. It's just pure quality when you look at it. It's shocking.
So many good taglines from this one episode, Eloi. We should have done this a long time ago.
But and to answer your question, Chris, so what I was mentioning before in the podcast that we just did is, we produced the first version of the Go, then the second version, which is the one that we made the walkthrough, the V2, and now we are making the V3, which will be also production coming out from the mold. And what is great about the V3 is that we were doing the beta focus group at the same time, and a lot of things that we learned from the beta, we were able to include them in the Go from the mold. So we're talking about like bearings for the suspension, which is going to make it butter smooth. The way that when it folds to clip in the deck, before it was built within the frame, now we have a separate button for this that it's just so smooth. It feels like a keyboard like key. It's just butter smooth. So anyway, better experience to fold it, unfold it. Same thing for the folding mechanism. We increase the tolerance, so it's going to snap in place a lot better. And we added little safety things like the rubber straps and even more than that, it's all the software aspect of the scooter. During the pro beta, we learned that people want to leave their turning signal on at all time until they deactivate it, or have the option to have it turn off after 7 blinks, for example. Now we're going to offer it in the app. And a bunch of other things like this, like how you control turning signal, the way that the display reacts. So all those things that you don't necessarily see when you unbox the scooter, you're going to see it now with the app, basically. And another thing that was great from the Pro, the highest ranking feature on the Pro was the packaging at 4.9 across 150 reviews. And we're going to implement that same kind of packaging to the Go. So if it was resisting such a heavy scooter that it's like 120 pounds when it's being shipped in the box, for the Go, it's going to be a breeze, and people can expect the same level of like onboarding, setup quality, and box, which it's going to be insane for such like a cheap scooter. It's cheap in price, but rich in feature. Other Tyler.
I'm writing them all down. So there you have it. There's essentially the Apollo Air, Go, City, Phantom, Explore, and Pro all lined up for you. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know what your favorite scooter is and why, and also what you're most excited for. We mentioned the Go is kind of what's keeping us the most excited right now. But of course, we know different scooters for different use cases. So
and
thank you.
Sorry, and then just before you, like, I know a lot of comments we're going to get on it. Sort of like, okay, no, but Apollo needs to produce a scooter that goes 80, 100 miles an hour, etc. Like, it's really important to understand where Apollo is and what market we're serving. Like, we're in the e-mobility sector, and our goal is to make mass market scooters for everyday use. So really keep in mind, we're making a scooter for entry level, which is portability, making sure people can bring it on train, subway, etc. That's Apollo and Go. And then you have the middle market for commuting. You have the Pro for luxury off trail. So try and just keep that in mind when you're trying to see when you're building a scooter, any recommendations you guys have. It's incredibly valuable, but make sure it's going to be something that we can actually produce and get a lot of riders on overall.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let us know what you think, and please don't request any 72-volt or 92-volt scooters. We will know. And if there's anything else you'd like to know, let us know. We'll be happy to dive into it next time. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.